So today we're going to talk about CFU, Center Focused Ultrasound. Before we start the treatment, there's some important parameters that we should talk about. First one is let's take a look at our handpiece. First thing we're going to notice is that there's a little hole in the center of the transducer. That is from where we're actually having the ultrasound being focused on the skin. So when you apply the handpiece on the skin, make sure that the ultrasound is not coming out from the parameters, but actually from the center of the handpiece. So if I would like to focus on one certain point going onwards, make sure that is right the center that is hitting on that point. Another thing that we have to look at is basically here we have the depths which we are going to utilize. So if I would like to use a 4.5, I'm just going to turn it around, click on the 4.5, and then I know that my handpiece is ready to be used on the 4.5 millimeter. If it's going to be on the 3, then I'm just going to move it around to the 3, to 1.5, and so on. This is the handpiece of the face, and then we have another handpiece for the body. Before we start our treatment, we come on the face, we click, and then we are just going to select the depth with which we're going to start. We know that for the mid-face, usually the SMAS, the superficial musculoneurotic tissue, is usually found at 4.5 millimeters, whereas as we move to the upper part of the face, it should be around 3 and 1.5. So accordingly, you can actually adjust your depth. So coming here, we're starting with the mid-face, so we should select the 4.5 millimeters. So we just go and we click until here it shows 4.5 millimeters. Now we are set to 4.5 millimeters. And then we have another 3 parameters which we should take into consideration. The first one is the pulse duration, so for how long the ultrasound stays there every time we click. 50 milliseconds is not a long time. We should use it if we want to use the handpiece very fast. So if we would select 10 Hertz, so the frequency with which we want to work. Usually in a busy clinic, we want to do a treatment that is actually faster. So in those occasions, we can use the 10 Hertz, which is 10 pulses per second. So it's going to be the fast one. By selecting that one, we shouldn't use a pulse duration, which is very high, because we can actually risk of overlapping in the same area, and then we can cause more coagulation than what we require. So if we use the 10 Hertz, we are going to use an energy of 50 milliseconds. And then we have the energy in joules, which is basically the heat which we are going to produce. It's preferable that we start low, and then if we want to increase the energy, we can always go ahead and increase. But as a set of rule, it's much better if we want to use the 10 Hertz to use 50 milliseconds, starts with 1 joule. Then if the patient doesn't feel anything in the area, then we can actually increase the energy to 1.2 to 1.4 and so forth. On the other hand, if we want to offer a longer treatment, we just decrease the frequency. So basically is how long, how many pulses we're going to have per second. In this case, we're going to increase our pulse duration to 75 milliseconds or up to 100 milliseconds, and we can leave the energy the same. So we're just going to be moving slower. We're going to go ahead and look at 2 different ways of actually using the machine, using it in a slow motion and using it in the fast motion. First, we take our patient. Looking at the patient, what we're going to do, if we're going to use either the slow or the fast motion, is actually cleanse the face and then start dividing the face into different areas. So what I've done here is I have marked the different lines that I'm going to use. It will be best if you leave like half a centimeter between one line and the other, and we're just going to be moving along that side. So our movements are going to be initially horizontal, and then we are going to go vertically. We also have to mark out the areas which we are not going to treat. The first one is just going to be this area close to the ear, and then close to the lip. The reason that we don't want to go over this area is because there's so many superficial nerves, so we don't want to cause a semiparesis. Even if you do cause one, don't worry, it's something temporary that is going to pass, but as a thumb of rule, it's best to avoid them. So we avoid this area and the area close to the ear. So we go ahead, we mark every half centimeter, we draw these lines. Then here we make another 10, and then when we come closer on the upper lip, we do another 5 just to cover this area right here. So what we should do is we apply our gel on the face. So I already I took the prime gel, I put it into my vase, and then we use a spatula just to apply it onto the skin. It is very important, keeping in mind that CFU is an ultrasound. It does require water because in order for you to penetrate with the ultrasound, you need water. So we need a clear gel. I'm just going to be a prime gel. This is a special gel which is designed not to dry into the skin. It's not like the gels that we use generally in ultrasound. It's more of a conductive gel that stays there longer. The button shouldn't be on this side, should be on this side. So for you, because you don't really have an endpoint when it comes to this kind of treatment, on each line that I'm passing, just make sure that you count 10 times. So 5 going this direction and 5 going this direction, 10 in total. Then we go to our next point and we continue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We go to our next point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we continue in this kind of way. We can see that as an endpoint, we do have some kind of erythema. The other thing which is very good is if we look at our gel, it actually gives us an indication more or less in which zone we are treating, because as the handpiece is moving, is actually going away from the area which we already have treated. So it's a good indication in following your lines. So we reapply the gel. We just make sure that it's even on all the areas. We can see that we have some erythema onto the face. What we can do now is either we divide whatever it's more easier for you. You can actually divide the mid face from the lower face with just a line and just treat these areas, or you can treat the whole length. I believe that it's easier if you divide the lower from the mid face so that you move faster. When it comes to that, you're just going to be making 5 passes from each area. So let's go. And then we move. So you're just moving around, and every time you move your handpiece about 0.5 centimeter. And we're done. So now we move to the mid face. And that's it. So once we have finished, we can just cleanse our patient, and then I'll move on to the other side. So now let's go to the other side. First, we're gonna indicate the areas where we're not gonna be treating. So you're just leaving about 1 centimeter from the end of the mouth downwards, and then just this area close to the ear. Then the rest, as we said, is like about 10 to 15 lines depending on how big the face is. Then from here to here is going to be about another 10 lines vertical, and then from this place to this place is going to be another 5. Afterwards, when we're going to be doing the vertical lines, remember to divide the face into half, so we have the lower face and the mid face. So what we do first is we apply our gel onto the face. We use a spatula. You can see that it's very adhesive because we want it to actually stay onto the skin. We don't want it to dry out while we're doing the treatment, because if it does dry out, then it's not going to be conducting our ultrasound.